And thanks for joining us once again. I'm Ann Police.
And I'm Ed Arnott.
Coming up on this edition of Real Orange, a new documentary tells the long-lost story of U.S. airmen from World War II who were sentenced to death inside a Nazi concentration camp.
And everything you need to know about living local is at the core of what One Orange County magazine tries to deliver.
The retirement of a police officer is a momentous time for most officers, but not usually newsworthy.
But in the case of Sergeant Rick Martinez from the Anaheim Police Department, he spent decades on the scene of breaking news as a public information officer. Maria Hall Brown caught up with the man of leisure.
Tools of the trade that are no longer your trade. This is quite a collection.
This is what I call my badge of honor, my badges of honor. You know, working with the news outlets for so many years, all of these stations that you see here are people that I work with regularly, and I was very honored that I was given these mic flags over the past almost 12 years. And so when I was cleaning out my office, the very first thing to be removed and brought here to this house and make room for it was the mic flags that I've collected, like I said, for over a decade.
12 years in front of the camera as public information officer for the Anaheim Police Department, explaining the good, the not so good, and the absolute horrific stories that can make it into the news. The flag's a testament to the media's regard for Rick, but his career began decades before.
You started out as just an Explorer Scout.
I did. I started off as a young police explorer in the city of Orange, and then throughout the 39 years, actually it was a total of 40 when I look at the exploring portion. 39 was with Anaheim, and this poster was drawn by my daughter, who's a graphic artist, and it was a retirement gift from the family. I received it on Christmas, the day after Christmas. The entire family got me around and presented this to me, and it goes through my entire career as a police explorer. This was actually from a photograph of one of the first court cases I went to as a very young officer, and you can see by the hairstyle, here I am as a young patrol officer, moving on to motorcycle officer. I crack up when I look at this one because I was a school resource officer, and she had, of course, put the puppet in there.
What's the puppet?
Well, as a school resource officer, we go into the schools and teach safety, and we teach everything from preschool to high school. So when you taught in the preschool, you have to use puppets. Matter of fact, those puppets were seen regularly on Halloween on Romper Room, where we would go, and sometimes I was the puppet, and sometimes I was the person talking to the puppet and teaching about Halloween safety to the young kids on Romper Room.
Halloween, you do have to pay extra special attention because you're probably going to be walking around on the streets and the sidewalks, aren't you?
Well, I'm so anxious to get all that candy, I was going to run across the streets.
Oh, Ima, you shouldn't run when you're trick-or-treating. You should remember to walk.
Romper Room, not the first, nor certainly not the last time Rick graced the small screen. He also hosted a cable program, On the Scene, perhaps foreshadowing his final recurring role as PIO.
One of the nice things about law enforcement is that you're allowed to remain in the same job but do different things. Like, many people get bored in their job, but when you're in law enforcement, when you start to get a little bit antsy, you can leave patrol and go into motorcycle.
And that's Elmo.
That's Elmo. Elmo.
She knows someone's coming.
Sorry.
You're allowed to...
Okay.
Oh, wait, who's that?
Hey, what are you doing, buddy? Come on in. Hey, how are you, buddy?
A surprise visit from Jim Amorino, Orange County Sheriff Public Information Officer, longtime friend and colleague.
We certainly dress different nowadays, don't we?
Before there was generally a perception that there was a mistrust between police and the press, and in some cases with the old timers that still exists. And Rick has worked very hard trying to stop that. There should not be a mistrust between police and the press, or the police and the public. And Rick is a perfect example where he broke that barrier.
You miss him?
Of course I miss him. I tell him all the time on Facebook. I tease him every day on Facebook.
And you're not in the missing phase yet.
I'm not in the missing phase. I'm really enjoying things right now. I have so much to do, and the day's going by so fast. And but on the other hand, I get to see him on television, and I get to see my friends on television. So I'm just enjoying life right now.
Congratulations, Rick. We all wish you a wonderful retirement. In Orange, I'm Maria Hall Brown, Real Orange.
What an incredible guy,
Yeah.
too. Beyond his professional duties, Rick's known to dedicate countless hours to many worthy causes. Last year, something rarely happens. The Anaheim Explorer's post was changed from post 174 to post 249 in honor of his badge number.
He has also asked that proceeds from his retirement party benefit the Orange Library Foundation and the nonprofit Honoring Our Fallen.
That's the way he is.
Yes.
History tells us that Hitler and the Nazis murdered